Queste settimane sarebbero dovute essere molto intense per la programmazione concertistica, perlomeno del ViottiFestival. Avevamo deciso tra l'altro anche di inserire Notafi di pagina non solo come un evento online, ma anche come un evento live all'interno della stagione. Purtroppo tutto questo non è stato possibile, ma noi continuiamo il format online qui su YouTube. Tra l'altro, in queste ultime settimane noi del ViottiFestival abbiamo creato una nuova rassegna concertistica di nome Not the Same, perché non è lo stesso fare la musica online. Quindi invito tutti voi a seguire questa serie di concerti online con molti dei più bravi artisti italiani, giovani, emergenti, oltre ovviamente a continuare a iscrivervi al canale YouTube della Carnevale Ducale Junior e a seguire Notafi di pagina. Oggi intervista molto speciale con il Paganini della tromba, Sergei Nakariakov. Welcome, Sergei Nakariakov.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, how are you?
I tried to stay in shape to practice. I looked into some new pieces that I haven't tried before. It's not easy to stay motivated with the concerts being cancelled, but it's the same situation for most musicians nowadays, unfortunately. But still, life goes on. There is, of course, hope for the future. I can only wish that the normal life will return as soon as possible.
Since quarantine has been a true challenge for us young musicians, do you feel like talking about a challenge that you had to face during your life or when you were like 18 years old, that initially seems very hard, but that eventually turned out to be fundamental for your career?
The first thing that comes to my mind is a perfectionist approach to practicing and patience. We all want the results to come immediately. My father was coaching my practicing for many years, and this is what we've been discussing most of the time. We had many discussions, fights about the fact that I'm not patient enough, and it was definitely an issue. But of course now I understand that without this approach it's impossible to get the fundamentals right and to advance. So nowadays when I teach myself, this is what I try to pass on to my students, to the students that come to my lessons. I don't have permanent students yet. I guess so that's the patience and this perfectionism during practicing.
Encounters are essential, especially in the life of a musician. In your opinion, which was the most important during the years of your studies, and which one meant the most to you during your international career?
There are several musicians that helped me during different periods. I can name 4 people. It was Vladimir Spivakov, Russian violinist and conductor. It was Dmitry Sitkovetsky, Russian violinist and conductor. It was Saulius Sondetskis, Lithuanian conductor. And a little bit later, Mstislav Rostropovich, famous cellist. Vladimir Spivakov heard me when I was 12 years old, and he liked my playing and invited me to concerts later. Still before our immigration to Israel, I started to appear at big concerts with his amazing orchestra, Moscow Virtuosi. This encounter, of course, played a huge role in my life. A little bit later, in 1990, he invited me to France, and he gave me my first good trumpet as a gift, really with my first professional instrument. Back then it meant really a big deal to me. This instrument I played for years. I got invited by Dmitry Sitkovetsky, who joined his festival in Finland. It was my first trip abroad to a, so to say, capitalist country, to the west from Soviet Union. And that festival again played a big role in my life because I met many musicians there who eventually helped me at certain stages, and I played with Evgeny Kissin there, and I met my future recording producers there, and so on and so forth. So it was important. Saulius Sondetskis was an amazing friendship that many years. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. He passed away a few years ago, but he also invited me very young, and later, after our immigration, he has invited me to play at the Salzburg Festival, to other festivals in Germany, and those were my first big concerts in Europe, in Germany and Austria. Recorded together. We went to Japan together on tours more than once. And about Mstislav Rostropovich, well, because of him, I ended up based in France. It was his idea after he has heard me at the south of France at one festival. Here I am. And of course, each one of these amazing musicians played a huge role in my life, and I'm forever grateful.
You're known as a big virtuoso. Very often the word virtuosity is associated with the word technique. What is the true meaning of technique? Is it just a tool, or is it the first step of a much longer path?
Most people associate virtuosity with the speed or some circus tricks on the instrument, but I think that virtuosity is the ability to control the instrument in such a way that the instrument stops being a barrier between what you feel and what you actually express when you perform. So it's not necessarily about the speed, but I think it's more about unification with the instrument, that at some point while playing you become one whole thing with it. You just express your feelings in the most natural way, no matter if it's some virtuoso piece or something else.
The solo repertoire for trumpet, compared to the one of other instruments, is not very extended, but you reacted by expanding and enriching it with your many transcriptions. Is this proof that limits are in fact challenges?
Yes, playing arrangements in a way is a challenge, but I don't play arrangements for the sake of the challenge. To me, my main purpose of playing certain pieces, and I play many of those, of course, you are totally right, that are not pieces that are not written for trumpet or flugelhorn. I play these pieces simply because I like this music. Trumpet or flugelhorn have been invented only in 19th century, and therefore the composers of that period or before, well, they didn't have access to these colors. The original literature that we have is from 20th century. So therefore arrangements. And I try to be careful with this. It's a very delicate matter. I try to make these pieces that I play, I try to make them sound as natural as possible, so that the listener would not really think about the instrument, but rather simply to the music. After all, the instrument is just a tool for expressing. As a voice for a singer, or piano for a pianist, or a string instrument. So in my case, my trumpet or flugelhorn, so these are my two voices that I have.
Thank you very much for dedicating us this moment. It was really a pleasure, and as I said before, I'm really looking forward to seeing you again in Italy, in Vercelli, and to create something together again.
It would be my greatest pleasure, and I wish you good luck with all your projects, and especially to stay safe and healthy, and also to your family, of course, and my best regards.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.